I feel like this is one topic that a lot of people don't or haven't been speaking about. And it's beginning to come to light now more and more, especially with the likes of people like Jordan B. Peterson and Iman Ghazi speaking about it. But it should have been a topic right from the start. It should have been some kind of conversation even when this culture, this new sex culture was initiated. Because you go on Instagram, somebody's naked, you go on, I don't know, everywhere somebody's always naked or showing a part of their body. But there's nobody sensitizing against this kind of a culture. Anyways, this one is titled Stop Playing With Yourself, and already as you can tell, it's about pornography and masturbation. So let's check it out. Hopefully we can learn a thing or two from this. And if you have anything to share, comments, feel free to do so. I'm going to be giving my comments alongside.
I have worked a lot with people who are trapped in pornography and want to be free. I would love your advice here. Two questions. One would be, why should young men quit porn? And then what's your advice to young men who feel like it's just inevitable? Like I started when I was young. I've tried all the tricks and tips. I don't know how to stop. I keep promising myself I'll stop, only to go back like a dog to its vomit. So first of all, why should they think about quitting porn first of all?
Well, no one ever quits anything. They replace it with something better.
Okay.
Right. I mean, so let's say alcoholism. Let's start with alcoholism. Well, why do people drink? Well, if you like alcohol, that's a stupid question. Like I really liked alcohol. It was pretty bloody obvious why I drank. Why? Well, it made my social relationships feel closer.
Yeah.
It woke me up. It quelled my anxiety. And it knocked out the part of my mind that was concerned with future consequences. So it was like impulsivity. So like you don't need an explanation for that. And some people are particularly susceptible to that alcohol effect. I had a friend, colleague named Frank Irvin back at McGill, and he had a monkey ranch on St. Kitts, green monkeys, vervets, if I remember correctly. I think that's what they are. And he'd feed them rum and Coke. 5% of them would drink Tacoma on first exposure. Right, 5%. It was like alcohol? Huh. Just like Barney Gumble in The Simpsons. Where have you been all my life? Yes. Right. Well, so how do people quit drinking? Well, no treatment centers work.
Really?
No. But people do quit. The most reliable cure for alcoholism is religious transformation. And that's been known even among the secular, what would you say, psychiatrists for like 80 years. Well, what happens when you decide you're going to do something other than drink? Okay. You got to get rid of all your friends, because all your friends are drunks, right? You got to get rid of probably a fair chunk of your family. All of your social habits are wrong, every single one of them. Everything you do that isn't work, that's alcohol related, that's your life. All that has to be replaced. You need a replacement. So I would say to young men who are listening to this podcast, for example, if you want to stop engaging in a self-destructive, impulsive, and juvenile habit, whatever it is, make a plan. We have a program online at selfauthoring.com called Future Authoring. It's like it helps you make a vision. So you're ashamed of yourself for some reason. That's why your conscience is calling at you. You know you're taking the easy way out. Okay, what are you being called to? Why are you plagued by doubts about the appropriateness of your behavior? Well, because something is beckoning to you. Well, what? An unrealized vision. So in the Future Authoring program, people are asked to, okay, so here's the deal. It's like a covenant. Here's the deal. 5 years from now, you can be who you would like to be, and you can have what you need within the bounds of reason, if you specify it. So if you could be who you would like to be, and if you could have what you think you need, in principle, what would that look like? Well, that you start specify targets. So we say, well, write it down for 15 minutes. Don't get too self-critical. Just think, we ask questions. Who do you admire and why? And what do you think you need and why?
Wait, so let's break it down. He's saying this behavior, it's caused because there's no plan or there's no... Oh, I think I get it. So he's saying why people indulge in this kind of activities is because they don't have a structure in their life. So if you can structure your life and make a plan, and then you replace this bad behavior with the good one. I feel like that's a summary of what he's saying, or at least that is how I understand it. I think so. Structure will be the first point.
And what would you want if you could have it? Then we have people do the reverse. Okay, now picture yourself 5 years out and you've let your bad habits take full control, but you're 5 years older. Right. So what does that
scary.
look like?
Yeah,
Well, it should
not
be
good.
scary. Like what's the little hell your whims are aiming at? So what are you? You're the 35-year-old creep at the bachelor party who's still involved with pornography, who still has the mind of a 16-year-old and is getting kind of perverse around the edges because everything he watches is getting a little more brutal. Right? You're that kind of scum rat creep. That's your destiny. You want that? Think about it. Think about exactly what sort of hell you'd involve yourself in. You bloody well know where your bad habits are likely to. Some people end up on the street. Some people that women end up as hookers. There's addiction. There's pimping. There's what? There's like brutal cynicism. There's lots of hells. You have yours. You can be sure of that, where your temptation would lead you. You want to think that through.
Even celebrities these days, rappers, who have been very successful, still find themselves being dragged down because of these bad vices they've been a part of. Like people that have no reason to be a part of this, they've been very successful, but because of these things they've been a part of and didn't change, now they are, it's brought about their downfall. So yeah, what he's saying is very factual. Like we see evidence in the society today. We see this evidence. So what he's saying it makes sense.
And decide if that's where you want to go. And then when you're tempted, you can think, oh, that's a pathway to hell. Maybe no. Right? You need both of those. That's why in the archetypal realm, the moral landscape is anchored with heaven and hell. You need something to run the hell away from.
Yeah.
Right? Because that avoidance motivation, all that negative emotion, that's really useful.
Okay.
Like anger's part of that too.
Yeah.
You want to have that
Motivate
behind
you.
you.
Yeah.
Damn right. You want your fear, you want Satan behind you,
Yes.
pushing you forward.
Okay.
Right? Exactly. Not in front of you, barring your way.
But there needs to be something to run to.
Well, that's the other thing, is that gives you incentive, pleasure, and that's exactly what drugs do. That's also what pornography does. Like technically, you experience a dopaminergic release in relationship to a goal. And when all the drugs of addiction produce dopaminergic release, all the bad habits, right? You got to replace that. Well, with what? Movement towards a valid goal. Well, what's your goal? Well, then we ask people in the program, it's like, okay, what do you want in a relationship? Like if you could have what you wanted, what would it look like? Think about it, vision it, envision it, imagine it, let it reveal itself to you, right? How would you like to structure your friendships? What would you like to do to put your family in order? How would you aim with regard to your career? How would you educate yourself? How would you take care of yourself mentally and physically, assuming you were, trying to do what was good for you, like you liked yourself, which is a very difficult thing to pull off. Yeah. How could you serve your community? Flesh it out.
Also, a massive thanks.
Yeah, that was a very good one. Well broken down. That's why I like to listen to Jordan Peterson. He has a very nice way, even though sometimes he's too fluent that is disruptive when you're listening to him. He speaks with so much knowledge that sometimes it's not very clear. But I think what he was trying to entail, for one, was structure your life, and then from number two was basically put that behind you and use it. You can use it as a driving force to attain something in life. I was reading this book. I've read this book multiple times. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. They spoke about something. I think it was called sex transmutation. I think that sex transmutation can play into what Jordan Peterson said. You can use that as a driving force, to attain something. In that book, when they spoke about sex transmutation, they spoke about like people who like to look good, dress good, speak well, the same energy they used to, like the same way you'd use to convince a woman you want to lay with, you can use that to win a deal. Like you can transmute that desire into something that can be prosperous to you. So I believe that's basically what Jordan Peterson was trying to break down in that video, and it does make a lot of sense. Anyways, let me know what you think. If there's anything you want to add, correct, or critique in this video, feel free to do so. Smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a wonderful day. Peace.